Hello everyone, welcome back to another tutorial session. Today we're gonna look at another useful Mule component called Set Payload. Let's quickly recap what we've done so far. So we created a Mule flow with an HTTP listener, a logger, and a couple of variables. We are also currently returning a hard-coded JSON response from our HTTP listener. In this video, instead of defining the response directly in the listener, we're gonna use that set payload component to create our response. From the Mule palette, we can find the set payload component. I'll drag it into our Mule flow. I'll give this component a display name, success payload. Now you might think we can simply copy our existing JSON response and paste it into the set payload value field. However, when we are working with the structured data such as JSON, we need to make sure MuleSoft understand that we are creating a data structure that rather than simply treating it as a plain text. This is where DataWeave comes in. We can use a DataWeave expression to create our JSON payload. The first line specifies the DataWeave version we are using. Here I'm using a DataWeave 2.0. Then we specify the output format. In this example, we'll use output application JSON. So after that, we use that three hyphen separator and define the JSON structure we want to create. For example, we can create an object containing our pet ID. But instead of hard coding the ID, let's make this a little more dynamic. Remember that our endpoint contains a path parameter called pet ID. For example, get API pet 123. We can access this path parameter through the Mule attribute using attributes. Here you can put attributes. Then we're going to access the uriParams and dot. Then we have to specify the variable name, path parameter name, pet ID. Also, you can give the data type as number here, and also you can specify a default value. Here it should be attributes. Now we need to make sure that this payload is actually used as the response from our HTTP listener. So previously the listener itself was returning our hard-coded response. Now that we've added the set payload component, the payload created by this component will be used as the response. So let's save the application and now I think we can run it. Once the application is running, I'll open our API client. Then we can invoke our endpoint and see. As you can see, we can get the successful response and ID return in this response is 1. So we change it to 9. And as you can see, the response now contains 5. So this response is no longer completely hard-coded. We are taking pet ID from the incoming request and using DataWeave to create our response dynamically. So at the moment, this is still a very simple example, and we are only returning the ID. In the real application, we could use this ID to retrieve the pet information from database or another API, and then use the DataWeave to construct the complete response. So let's quickly summarize what we learned today. So we learned how to add the set payload component, create a payload using the DataWeave, specify DataWeave version and output format, access HTTP path param using attributes .uriParams, convert the pet ID values to a number, create a dynamic JSON response. Finally, use the set payload components to control the response returned by our API. In the next tutorial, we'll continue making our API more dynamic and look at how we can work with real data instead of returning mock data. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.